Okay, so in breaking news, Russell Westbrook has been traded to the Washington Wizards for John Wall and a 2023 first round pick. This news was released by Kristen Reichen from the Associated Press, and the news story is on NBA.com. And the first person to report this was obviously the man, Adrian Wojnarowski. So, Nate, I'm gonna start with you. What do you think about this trade?
Well, first of all, congratulations to both of them. I wish them the best of luck in the future. This is a horrible trade, man. This is a very horrible trade. I mean, I'm not gonna sit up here and say John Wall is bad because he's not. He's not a bad player, but he's not like on the level of Russell Westbrook. You know what I mean? And they got a first rounder from 2023. So like, I mean, we don't know how that person's gonna play. And I mean, I can kind of understand what the Rockets are doing here. They're trying to fill in the missing holes because a lot of their star players. Westbrook said he wanted out of Houston. Now he's out of Houston. And he's going to Washington. Which I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't. Despite them having Westbrook, I don't know if they'll even make the playoffs. I still think the Wizards need a lot more than just Westbrook and Isaiah Thomas, to be a contending team. But as for going back to the Rockets, I mean James Harden's about to leave town too. So I think the Rockets are in panic mode right now. I mean, again, I'm not going to say John Hall's a bad player. I just think this was a really, really bad trade on both ends, really. Now the Rockets got rid of. I know you weren't making it that far in the playoffs, but you could have continued to add on more to what you got. But they're doing the exact opposite of what the Lakers are doing, if that makes sense. They're doing the exact opposite. Instead of keeping those key players, you're letting them leave. That's not a good sign for the Rockets. I mean, of course, I wish them the best of all of them, but like that's just a really terrible trade.
Yeah, I'll say this. So I'll start off with the Houston Rockets. So my biggest concern about John Wall is his injuries. He hasn't
Yeah,
been the same player because he's been injured almost every year, and it's been leaving Bradley Beal to show how good he is, but it's also been leaving him alone with the Wizards, and and him just being the main star. But now you add the reason why this is so. But here's what I'm thinking. So the Rockets got John Wall, right? Is that enough for James Harden to stay? I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't say, but I will say this: if James Harden decides to stay with Houston, which I don't think he will, but if he does decide to stay, John Wall could be a very good addition with James Harden if staying healthy. Because here's the thing: Russell Westbrook with James Harden, it was a stat. In my opinion, it was a stat padding team. It wasn't a winning team. It was a stat padding team. One wants his triple doubles, and the other one wants his points, and that's the way it's been. And obviously, they had such a good bond because they've been friends for so long. But you could just tell James Harden and Russell Westbrook together. It just didn't seem like a good
it
combo.
didn't click.
Right. Not even that. I think they clicked a little bit, but it just didn't seem like a good combo to win because both of them have trouble because both of them have these critiques behind them on how they can't win in big situations or how they can't win playoff games. They won one series against the Thunder, but then after that they got beaten by the Lakers. But that is the Lakers, so we'll give them a break. I think James Hart. I think John Wall. The reason why I think he could be a good addition to James Harden is because John Wall is not a triple double player. You know what I'm saying? He's a good point guard. He's a guy who could probably give you like 25 assists and 5 rebounds maybe, but that also gives James Harden more room to score. You know what I'm saying? And John Wall can just somehow become a good second piece to James Harden. I think they could really blend. I'm not sure if they win a championship, but they can definitely really blend. As for the Wizards, the reason why I think Russell Westbrook going there is so good is because he doesn't have a stat pad. He doesn't have a stat pattern in James Harden no more. Bradley Beal is a very good scoring shooting guard. I think he's one of the most underrated shooting guards in the league. And I think that with a triple double machine like Russell Westbrook, just passing him Bradley Beal the ball, I think he could absolutely help him get his triple doubles. And I think Bradley Beal can even upgrade himself to what he was last year because now he has a point guard who can actually get you triple doubles, who can actually get there, who can actually pass you the ball correctly, and can actually become a second scoring piece to take some pressure off of you. So I mean, Wizards, I think it's a good trade. I really do. As for the Houston Rockets, we don't see what has to happen. But if John Wall is going to be in Houston by himself, he's got to stay healthy and he's got to perform well. It's just as simple as that. But good luck to both of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course. I mean, in the Wizards, they were smart about getting Westbrook because Westbrook could have gone anywhere really. He could have went. he could have went to an already contending playoff team, like, say for example the Heat, the Celtics. Could have even went back to OKC, although I don't think that would have happened. So I think the Wizards stepping up and getting a man like Russell Westbrook was a great idea. I just think it was horrible on Houston's end. But as for the Wizards, though, I mean, this is a big step forward for the Wizards. I mean, the Washington Wizards. Let's be honest, they're not good at this whole NBA playoff contention thing. Listen, they're not. They haven't been a contender, and I don't even know how long. So they're taking the right steps necessary to attempt to bring another championship home into DC. I wish them the best of luck, of course, but this is a great addition to them. They got a lot of young players, like you said, and they also have another veteran in Isaiah Thomas. So I mean, we're gonna see how this works.
Right, and I'll say this: I don't think Houston Rock. I think the Houston Rockets, as for James Harden, his best teammate, in my opinion, I think it was Chris Paul, and I don't think they're gonna get anything better. And the reason why I say it was Chris Paul is because Chris Paul is a team leader, and he knows how to set up people. And Russell Westbrook does too. But the only difference is Chris Paul, in my opinion, is a big. I think they're both difference makers, but I think when it comes to the playoffs, I think Chris Paul is so much more important because you could tell when he was that first year against the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, Houston had a 3-2 game lead. And next thing you know, Chris Paul got hurt and they ended up not winning. And in game 7, Chris Paul couldn't play and they ended up losing. So that just proves how big Chris Paul was. And since they lost Chris Paul, I don't know. I don't think they're ever going to get to the place where they used to be. But I mean, congrats to both players if that's what they want to be, if they're happy. Good luck to both players. Good luck to both teams, and we'll see what happens in the NBA season.